BFT Committee. Present myself as chair, Mr. Lagarde, vice chair, and Dr. Traha, also member. Also present, Mr. Crowdis, Mr. Cloche, Ms. Benoit. Did they leave?
I think he just went in the back.
Okay, I think the other two members probably will re-enter. Number two, if Ms. Monica wants to stand up here, consideration of approval for authorization to advertise for yearly bids for milk products, fruit juice, fresh fruits and vegetables, and supplies and disposables. The committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the Child Nutrition Department to advertise for yearly bids July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025 for milk products, fruit juice, fresh fruits and vegetables, and supplies and disposables for the 2024-2025 school session. So moved, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Ms. Monica, do you have anything? No? Okay. Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number three, also Ms. Monica Walther. The committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the Child Nutrition Department to advertise for 6-month bids, July 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024, for meats and frozen items and canned and dry goods for the 2024 fall session. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Ms. Monica, anything? No? Dr. Traha? Mr. Lagarde? Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. The next one is the committee recommends that the board authorize the Child Nutrition Department to proceed with the advertisement of requests for proposals for 1 year with the option for 2 renewals of concentrated detergents and linen services for the 24-25 school session. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Ms. Monica? Okay. Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde? Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Monica. Appreciate it. Consideration and approval to authorize the advertising of bids for maintenance and repair. Ms. Ali Duga. The committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the purchasing department to advertise for bids for the following maintenance and repair services for the 24-25 school session. And they're all listed there for everyone. So moved by Dr. Traha, second by Ms. Lagarde. Mr. Lagarde, any public comments? Ms. Ali, you have anything? Any questions for Ms. Ali? Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde, any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 6, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the purchasing department to advertise for bids for the following maintenance supplies and equipment for the 24-25 school year. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Nothing? Okay. Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any other board members? Mr. Ogeron?
Ali, just real quick, just explain why we're doing this. I think it's common knowledge, but just kind of how this works.
We advertise these bids annually because in all of these categories, we exceed the bid threshold, which is $60,000. So we spend over $60,000 in HVAC supplies every year, building supplies, equipment rental, custodial supplies. So we're legally required to advertise these bids.
And then we have a vendor.
And then we have a vendor on
as
contract.
needed throughout the year.
Yes.
Okay, good. Mr. Ford?
So just to clarify, I'm going to pick one thing, like building supplies.
This particular, it's like one bid, but there's multiple categories. So there might be like lumber, they're ceiling, a different category for ceiling tiles, a different category for like floor tiles.
So that's all bids for materials outside of the other repair jobs that we already have going
Yes,
on?
these are for supplies if, like if our maintenance crew is going to be performing the
Okay,
work.
that's what I wanted to make sure. Thank
So
you.
that would be like held at a warehouse or something, and if a school
Yes.
needs it, we have access to it?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Any other board members? Okay. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 7, consideration of approval of notice to proceed for the renovation project at Terrebonne High School. I'm going to present an amendment, or I am presenting an amendment to the recommendation as follows. The committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Vergis Rome Architects, APAC, for plans and specifications for the renovation of Terrebonne High School. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Mr. Poisson, you have anything or any questions, Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde? Any board members? Yes, Mr.
Did we
Dehart,
set a budget
sorry.
on this, or we just researching it right now for this motion?
So the purpose of the amendment is to do exactly what you're talking about, set a budget and research costs
Okay.
involved. But he's going to move forward with the plans.
That's
and then
great.
From the plans, we'll
That's great.
phase it and budget from there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to clarify that in my mind.
I
Thank you.
just need to get more specifics.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
okay,
That was my question as well.
okay, good. Any other board members? Any objections? Good? Okay, good. Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Poisson. Number 8, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the attached plan for the use of funds derived from FEMA improved projects pending FEMA approval.
So moved.
So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Dr. Traha?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we are found at a point where we can start moving on a lot of these projects.
Amen. Mr.
It's been a
Lagarde?
long wait.
Mr. Ogeron?
Yes, sir. So this is included in your package, this sheet here. It's a chart. So what we're asking for approval on is this plan to submit to FEMA so they can approve this, so we can expedite their approval process. So what we're asking for specifically is 3 particular improved projects. Now, what happens is, I'll use LaCache as an example. LaCache is a substantially damaged building, and this one is on the list right here. It's the second one on the list, LaCache Middle School. We've made a decision not to rebuild that school. So FEMA will grant us money in the form of capped amount. They're going to agree to a certain amount of money, and that money can be applied to what's called an improved project. Okay, so we have 3 improved projects on this chart here. The first one is South Terrebonne Middle. That's one of the improved projects. The second one in gray is Elysian Fields School. And the third one is the Fletcher campus, which is going to be housed, which will house our vocational career school, okay, our magnet school. We called it a magnet school in the adoption of the recommendation, but we're leaning and really kind of planning for a college and career center. Okay, so what happens is all these buildings that are damaged, they have a value to them. So FEMA takes that value and gives you a cost that you can apply to one of these improved projects. So with that said, you see the conglomeration of all these costs for South Terrebonne Middle is about $20 million. So the Elysian Fields is about $800,000 for SEC building that is substantially damaged. Why Elysian Fields? Is because that's where we eventually want to have SEC housed, is at the Elysian Field site. So there's a lot of costs involved with getting it handicap accessible and all the restroom facilities that we need to kind of modify at Elysian Fields. Then the third one is the Fletcher campus. So a lot of the VOTEC buildings that are substantially damaged, we'll take that money and apply it toward this school so we can renovate and upgrade that to house our kids eventually when we move into this magnet school, or career college center. Okay? Yes, sir.
So if we accept these funds, do those buildings have to be demoed and destroyed?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Mr. Dehart?
But
Oh,
Mr. Lagarde wants to.
What, finally, Mr. Ford, question, what gonna happen to those buildings?
Which ones in particular, Mr. Lagarde? Any of them?
East
Cash.
Street campus, what
To,
gonna
to,
happen?
to be determined, Mr. Lagarde. We'll decide that as a board. We'll present a proposal for that, and then we'll make a decision as a
And
board.
at the VOTEC, those, what happened to some of those buildings? Like the carpentry we're gonna take, what's gonna happen to it?
So there's a lot, we have, again, that's gonna be something the board's gonna approve. I kind of presented something in the restructuring plan that we can kind of house maintenance over there, but that was just a proposal. But we see a lot of potential for maintenance, like particularly the carpenter shop. That'd be a great shop for our carpenters to do a lot of the work that, right now, they're working out of Fletcher Building, which is not gonna be long-term for them. I mean, it's just a great space, because they're lacking space. That would be a great use of some of the facilities at Votech for our maintenance department.
So it won't have anything, no effect on our programs for the kids that go to.
It should
Votech.
not, no, sir. Matter of fact, Mr. Dillard and staff has been studying this Fletcher building thoroughly, right? And we can house all of Votech's programs there under one roof and have a lot of rooms for a lot of college-related courses as well. We still have a lot of space in that building. So that's why some of the money we want to apply there, and we're going to ask for more money so we can really make it an attractive building with a lot of refurbishing of floors and lighting and paint, you know, just to kind of make it, you know, attractive to kids. That we want to come, we want to really rebrand our whole program.
Yeah, Dr. Cloche?
These amounts, 20 million, 800,000, 2.5 million, is that the amount that we know we're getting for those schools
Okay.
yet, or is it just an estimation?
It's an estimation. It's Adam can probably elaborate. It's beyond an estimation. It's talks and negotiations he's having and All South's having with FEMA, and these are some anticipated or just
Ballpark figure?
ballpark figures. So it could be more.
We hope so.
It could be more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Adam, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so, like you were saying, it's all estimated figures, so normally, for our normal projects, when you do PA recovery, it's at cost. So you go to construction, any damages, FEMA will pay you whatever the actual cost is. Because y'all are not moving forward with any projects on these, we will never get actual cost. So we're submitting estimates that were put together by the architects. FEMA has their own formulation and calculation where they will put the same information into their formula and they will come out with a number. And so at that point, depending if they are higher or lower than us, that's when we start doing negotiations. But if they're higher than our estimates, we'll normally just go with theirs.
Quick negotiation.
Yep, and then, yeah, well, as much as you can, just if we agree or not, and then if we say, like, for some of these improved projects that we are expecting to be 2 or 3 years out, we can say, this is the cost now, in 2 to 3 years, this is what the expectation will be, cap us there and not at cost now. So we're kind of just working with the programs and seeing where we are on it.
Do we have any history with FEMA of trying to do this negotiation where we can feel pretty sure about what we're
Yes.
thinking?
So y'all Grand Caillou Middle School that was built, they used part of CAP funding from the old Grand Caillou and Dulac, so they moved money from there to help supplement the funds for the new build.
Thank you.
Problem.
Mr. DeHart?
Thank you. And Adam, if you don't mind, I'm not trying to confuse the issue. I support this idea right here, but I'm telling you right now, I represent another organization, and we've been dealing with FEMA for many years on the school board and the other organization I represent. And FEMA tells you one thing, and then after that, they change the rules. I'm just saying, they're famous for that, and there's a reason for it, but at the same time, I want to make certain, I know we did that for the Grand Caillou Middle School, like you stated, I'm aware of that, but recently, we tried to do something with the other organization that I did, and they told us certain things, and we followed that compliance, and all of a sudden, they changed and said what they said. So I'm just curious to know that right now, we're going to have to revisit this, because guess what? FEMA changes all the time, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but I just want to make certain that we have the means to do this and not lose the help we get from FEMA to do this. And I'll find a way, because I like this plan, and I'm just saying, y'all gonna come back to us and let us know response from FEMA on this?
Yes.
To make
So-
sure we're in the same compliance and
Yeah.
same direction?
The good thing about besides South Terrible Middle School is the Legion Fields and the Fletcher campus.
Right.
You're not changing the footprint of the building or anything. It's all pretty much cosmetic.
Yes, sir.
So it's easy for them to do an approval because they're not worried about ground disturbance or anything. The new middle school, we have been having discussions with them for the
Right.
last year and a half about this proposed plan. They've already started their environmental review on that. We're trying to get it fast-tracked, so whenever they say, you're good to go, we are ready for ground disturbing. So all of these can go into that. So we're already starting the process, and they seem to be very receptive of the new move of putting the new middle school higher up in a lower risk area. So,
Well, I'm hoping we don't have no surprises. All I'm saying to you that it was a surprise with the other organization I had, and all I'm saying, we got it worked out. And I'm just saying, I'd like to be informed through the Building and Sites Committee whenever you do get some response, because what I'm saying is that whenever you get partial funding from FEMA and then you use general fund, I don't want to lose too much to where we still be able to finish all the projects. That's the only concern I have, is why I'm raising the question and the concern.
Yep.
And I know you're going to do an excellent job researching it, but all I'm saying is that there was surprise that really shocked us, the other organization we had. And we worked it through, so hopefully we can work this through too.
Yep.
That's why I was hoping to get clarity on that. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Chair.
Crowders?
It's not a question, it's just a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So for me, I know I'm excited about the plans to work with the technical college and upgrade that building and use it for college and career, mostly career. You know, there's a lot of young people in the community that either don't want to or just want to learn a different trade. And I know that this is important to the community because I heard it in the process of, walking the neighborhoods. And I drink coffee at a few different local coffee shops, and I know many people have expressed that. So I would like to just encourage you and the staff to keep an eye
Yes, sir.
on this as a goal.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it.
Can I make one more comment, please?
If it's quick.
Very quick. Okay. I just want to make a very good announcement
15 seconds.
that everybody could know. Skills USA, it's remarkable what you're going to see from that program, and it's going to be housed here in Terrebonne Parish this year. And I'm not joking. If y'all have an opportunity, not just board members, anybody from the public, I'm just saying, it's phenomenal. It shows you where we're going as a school system, besides college career and everything, okay? So all I'm saying to you is that I just wanted to make that announcement.
State competition, yes, sir?
Yeah, state competition.
What's the date and the place that it's going to be? Date, the
Yeah,
date,
the state. And,
the date.
the date, it's in April.
This April.
Thank you, sir, for your help. But I'm just saying, it's phenomenal, and we got so many students that really and truly has already excelled at competition. And it's remarkable to see the progress we're making on academics and that. Thank
Is
you,
it going to be at the Civic Center?
ma'am.
Civic Center? No.
At the Votech
Vortex
campus.
campus.
At Vote-
Yes,
how can
ma'am.
you- how can
It's
you
been there
handle all
before.
that?
They go into different shops and do their skills in the shops.
Mr. Ford?
Just for, general purposes, I want to encourage you guys, Adam, to, when you're doing these estimates, be a little conservative with it. It's better for us to think we're getting less money and we get a bigger check than we were expecting than vice versa. Just because, we represent people in this district and they may not understand. So I appreciate the estimates. I know FEMA has a formula. I know you guys have a formula. Maybe undershoot a little bit and just, that way we can be surprised.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised if it
Pleasant,
comes
I
out
like
to
what
it.
you-
Okay, before we move on to the next thing, when we looked at a couple of years ago, we did a facility plan.
Yes,
We had
sir.
all kind of plans of doing so many things. And I'm not saying Hurricane Ida was a good thing. Obviously, it was not. So many people were devastated. But I think from this, we had the opportunity to do so much, with the FEMA and stuff. So
Good point.
that's again, I'm not trying to say Ida was good. It wasn't. But I think this is going to get us to have better facilities and.
Like Mr. Ford says, silver lining,
Yeah,
if there's anything,
right, yeah.
that's what it would be.
Okay, very good. Dr. Trahan?
Definitely Ida was not good.
No.
but we're gonna make, the best out of what we have, and we're gonna come out of it a lot better than what we went in.
Or plan to.
The only thing that worries me is the weather forecast for this year is looking pretty ominous. We've already had a tropical storm come upon Brazil, of all places, a couple of days ago. It's very, very unusual for tropical storms to develop that far south in the Atlantic Ocean. But we had one hit Brazil day before yesterday. And they're forecasting a bad year this year. So I pray that we can continue the way we've been going the last couple of years, and that it spares Terrebonne, Lafourche, and southeast Louisiana, because we are still in need of time to get back where we need to be.
Amen. So, still on recommendation number 8, so any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 9, Ms. Shelley Olivier, matter bearing upon plans for the construction of the new South Terrebonne Middle School. Yeah, they are. Yes.
Some of the board members are probably have to come share it.
I know.
Yeah, I see.
It's a little difficult to see.
I'm just teasing.
Chris, can you see this TV with the,
Wait, where's the mouse?
You're on that screen. What?
Mr. Kraus,
It's,
Ms.
it's kind of
Alexander,
like
wanna
a
scoot over?
double display thing, if you will, when you have two monitors. It's kind of quirky. Okay, this is the first time I use this, so sorry, bear with me. So everyone, okay, good. So everyone on your desk, you should have 6 11 by 17s and 2 8.5 by 11 prints. Everything that you see on the slideshow is basically just images that are already on the prints that are in front of you. So first, I kind of just want to review what has changed since the last submission. Remember, we had that submission that was sort of a design competition, and the program was much larger than what we have now today. We shaved off a good bit of square footage, about 23,000 square feet, in order to kind of get in our budget range, and in order to kind of make sure that we get the gym in the project, because I know that that was something that was very important to the committee and to the board.
No portables.
So most of the original architectural elements from the previous design was maintained, but we also added elements and modified the color palette to give the school its own identity. We also focused on how we could create a safe and usable outdoor space for the students. And in the very first picture that's up on the screen, this is the site plan, the overall plan of the high school and the middle school, showing the proposed location of the building. Last September, the parish adopted the new flood insurance rate maps, which shows the property in a flood zone. The firm elevation requirement is 7 feet. Since this is going to be FEMA funded, FEMA requires that an additional 2 feet be added to that requirement, which puts us at 9 feet. This doesn't mean that the building's going to be elevated 9 feet. What we're trying to do is actually kind of not elevate the slab maximum 3 feet. So the curvy lines that you see on the site plan are topo contours. And you can see this, that the building is, we're trying to keep the building within the 6-foot contour line. Everything from 6 foot towards the highway, it just keeps going up to like 7, 7.5. So if we stay within that zone, then the finished slab elevation will only be 3 feet above grade. Anything more than that, we're getting, foundation is going to get expensive. Possibly, more fill, more compaction, possibly longer pilings, things of that sort. So that kind of really dictated where the building was going to go. We also have some existing drainage that we can utilize. A lot of the shed, we have a natural shed going towards the bayou. We also have an existing drainage ditch to the left that we can utilize, which drains to the bayou as well. So that kind of dictated where we could place the site in terms of like horizontally. And then, so that really organically left the back half of the property available for future athletic development. Now, what I'm showing is just, I threw it together on y'all, so y'all could just see, what you can fit there. This isn't not part of, the scope of this project. The football field, however, will be graded and painted as part of this project, but it won't be a full-fledged football field with, scoreboard, lights, anything of the sort. More so for PE, recess, things of that nature. The bus route, as you note, is in yellow. So these two schools pick up and dismiss at the same time. So we had to get creative with how we were going to do the bus route and the parent route and make sure that these two were independent of each other, but also independent of how the high school's parent pickup route was. So the buses will pick up the high school students and then just travel straight to this new loop that we're creating. Pick up the middle school. Yeah, there you go. Up, yeah, and around. Yeah. And so Montague and LaCache have quite a bit of parent pickup. Students. I want to say somewhere around the 90 range.
That ain't many.
I'm sorry? 145? Because we had called them and I thought it was 80 to 90, but that's okay, then that's
That's
good.
still,
That's okay, that's
that's still
good.
less than 400.
Much less. So our goal is obviously we're on a major highway. It's heavily trafficked, it's high-speed conditions, so we're trying to get a parent route that is off of the highway and be able to stage about, 100 plus, 115 cars off of the highway. Now, this will require us to double stack the lane up until we get closer to the drop-off canopy, we'll merge the two together. And what we're proposing is to have a separate entry into this parent drop-off route, so that way any other visitors that are trying, or faculty that doesn't park in the faculty lot, that are trying to come and go out of the main visitor parking lot, they don't get caught in the congestion. I know I deal with that all the time at my son's school. We're just trying to keep it as less congested as possible, less conflicts. We're trying to make sure that the high school can, do their parent pick up and drop off independent as the middle school. No problems.
And we want to avoid having opening day like we did this year. So we think this is going to, at least, two schools on one site, basically, so it's a lot of.
Well, it's similar to
volume.
Terrebonne and Homer Junior High.
Yeah, it is, that's right, yep.
It's got to be planned.
Yep.
Have you done a traffic study yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Just
Traffic study
Didn't we
in
do that
terms
the first day of
of
school?
how
in
many,
terms of the traffic flow and the amount of vehicles that are going to be coming out, going onto that highway, because when you have buses coming out and then you've got parents coming out, they're coming out to the same road. And, just to get them all on the highway.
Right.
With the existing traffic going up and down
Right.
the highway.
I would imagine that, I know they still probably have a cross guard for the high school. We're probably going to have two.
Shuffling in and out,
Yeah.
getting buses going.
Just DOTD may require that of you before they give approval for the
Permit.
access
For the
to the
permit.
highway.
Yeah, and I think that they would also really take light to the fact that we're trying to get cars, off of the highway while they're waiting to pick up their
Yeah,
kids.
that's an excellent idea.
It adds to the concrete cost, but it's necessary. It has to be done. To the left in orange is the loading dock area. That's your food service related deliveries, dumpsters, things of that sort. We kind of wanted to tuck it off to the left there, so it's sort of out of the way. This is sort of a zoomed in kind of schematic site plan, which kind of shows the idea of the car stacking, the bus drop. We can drop off and pick up. We can have about 5 buses at a time dropping off and picking up, and then we can have about 7 staged waiting off of the high school's campus. So right now we have the faculty parking lot in the middle of the bus drop, and that is right next to the administration entrance. And then in the front, we have about 143 visitor parking spots. I kind of separated the visitor parking into two pockets. We have one that's closer to the main entrance. That's sort of what I call kind of the quick in and out, checking kids in and out, kind of area. And then the heavy quantity of parking is to the left in front of the cafeteria and gym. After hours, when there's award ceremonies or, basketball games, things of that sort, that's where you're going to be having the majority of your parking anyway. And so this left a lot of green space, to the right of the site. So that way, it's not all concrete. We can really kind of focus on the main part of the building. And just stop me if you have any questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Ms. Bigmore.
Just another thought to segue from where Dr. Puche was talking about DOTD. What about the sheriff's department? Has he been informed of this traffic path here?
No, he has not. If this design gets approved, we'll certainly be working with Sheriff's Department, local fire department,
Yeah,
DOTD, all of the
I think he would like a
above.
heads up on it, before it goes further. He had mentioned something like that about, from some of the other schools, that he just likes to be informed, and maybe he had some ideas about.
Absolutely, I would like his input. I would-
And if I may interject, most schools will load buses and move buses out before they start with the parent pickup and the other ones. So the buses come in and out before the parent vehicles start moving. That's what most schools do. I don't know if this system is gonna work that way.
I don't think at Bourgeois they do that.
I know at my children's school, they don't, it's all at the
No,
same
They
time.
always,
No.
the buses roll out before the.
No.
And it's all at the
before
same
they do
time, and it's
parent-
all
Don't work like
just
that.
a major cluster.
It might be down the by, but it works pretty
Wishful
well.
thinking. You know that about wishful thinking. It don't work that way.
They're dropping off, like in the morning when I'm out there.
Not at the big
parents
school.
going and
Michelle.
buses at the same time.
You mentioned the parent drop-off,
In a hurry to drop them off.
that you're going to start off with 2 lanes, and then you're going to eventually merge into a single lane?
Yes, this will allow us to be able to stack more vehicles off the highway.
It's the Chick-fil-A method.
It's the Chick-fil-A method, Mr. Argeron calls it.
Okay.
No, but Mr. Carlos, that's a good point. So Marlboro, we're faced with the same thing, and somebody's gonna be out there directing 7 cars from one line, you stack, and then direct the next line, 7 cars to stack. So they
Okay.
gotta alternate.
So we have a precedent.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we
I believe
also have
Montague does that as well, right? We were talking to the principal about that. Okay.
But she's gonna also design a canopy of sorts for that beauty teacher who's gonna be the one directing the traffic, correct?
Standing in line, yes, standing out in the rain, we'll have her protected.
Just one other thought. If it would be possible, probably not, but if it would, where the buses, like you said, pick up the high school, and then they go and pick up the middle school. If instead of exiting where you have the shrubs right there where you have them exiting, if they could go back down and exit further, that would give a wider gap between buses and cars entering the highway and may reduce some of the congestion at that peak time. Just a thought.
I'm not following where you.
Where would they, yeah, I guess where would they,
Go back to the picture
what would be your
before.
proposal?
Go back to the picture before.
Go past the shrub.
Yeah, you see where you have bus route starts right there in front of the high school?
Yes.
If they could come back and go all the way down and then enter to the right. where
Go
the red
pass
line
back
goes.
in front of the
And
high
back in front
school.
of the high school and then enter the highway there, you're gonna have a much larger difference or distance between cars and buses entering the highway. And may reduce some of the congestion.
Just isn't big enough for two-way traffic.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
And
That's the
Well,
problem.
that takes
It's
care of
always
that
been
problem.
one way.
and then
It's just
you got
one-way
parking.
traffic there.
Students that go to South Terre when they got parking, and they coming out. that-
Yeah,
that
and I
red
also
line.
want to point out that the parent pickup line for the high school is in the back of the property. So then you have parents come in from the right, correct me if I'm wrong.
But the car riders too.
Yeah.
The ones that drive to school, they could come out that red line too. from South Terrible.
Yeah.
Food for thought, and I much appreciated. So, we kind of talked about the parking. I'm proposing standing seam metal roof for the whole facility. I'm struggling with this
I like that.
laptop.
That's right.
We kind of went with the U-shaped, which allows for a courtyard to be developed for recess, PE activities, kind of just social areas, areas where kids could, eat their lunch and possibly even eat their breakfast from after picking it up from the cafeteria and really enjoy being outside, but still in the protection of the barrier of the building. This is just a diagram that kind of illustrates how we group spaces by function. So we kept the academic, the classrooms, which are in green to the right, which are next to the administration in blue. The main entrance, which would be our single point of entry, is the pink area to the right. And then to the left, we have a secondary lobby, I'm calling it secondary lobby, for the cafeteria and the gym. And so after hours, when there's something going on in the cafeteria or something going on in the gym, they can shut those doors and lock out all of the rest of the school, all of the common learning, the classrooms, the administration area, all that gets locked out. And that secondary lobby to the left and cafeteria and gym can operate on its own after hours. That was sort of the reasoning for that having the two lobby idea. So here is the floor plan. It's a little bit more detailed, and your 8.5 by 11, the top sheet is a detailed program with each space, the square footage of each space on it. I'm not going to go through every single space just because of the sake of time. Trying to keep it short and sweet. Sounds like that's the motto for tonight. So right now we have 28 classrooms. In the 22-23 school year, LaCache and Montague, the enrollment was 769. So we have 28 classrooms here. We have some room for growth. If we max out each classroom at 33, then we could potentially house 924. That's maximum, situation. Which, if you remember from the previous program, we actually had an additional 14 classrooms, so we cut that out of the program. For the gym, this gym is similar in size as Southdown Elementary. We have 270 person bleacher capacity. And for the cafeteria, we sized it approximately, to fit about 380 bench-style seats. And then, of course, we have a stage for ceremonies. So LaCache and Montague are in the same band. From what I was told, they currently have 184 students enrolled in band. So this band room is larger than some of the other schools that we have in our district. However, considering the count, we've designed it so that it'll fit about 100 students and instruments at one time. This is just some 2D renderings that kind of give you an idea. The front elevation at the top and the side elevation, which faces the high school. These drawings just sort of define the ceiling heights and the building heights for you. It also kind of shows the primary elements and the overall hierarchy of the composition, which are the two lobbies, connected with the common covered breezeway or walkway in front of the school. So architectural elements from the existing high school, such as the covered walkway, vertical windows with metal panels, and dark gray brick, were applied to the proposed middle school design. Ceramic fritted glass is used to highlight the main and secondary lobbies, and splashes of blue and gold fiber cement board break up the primary material of brick veneer and complement the Blue Knights school logo. Their colors are royal blue and gold. So the bottom three pictures are obviously South Terrebonne High School. And you can kind of see how we pulled a little bit of inspiration from that school into the architectural elements of the new school.
So Shelley,
Yep.
Find a new mascot.
so that, I was asking Matt, why blue and gold? Because it seems like being on the same campus with South Terrebonne. it's-
LMMS Blue Knights.
Well, so
Just saying be consistent with the colors.
who
Yeah.
made the decision
So
of that,
we did.
the
right.
color thing?
So right now, like Montague's the Dolphins, right, Kim? And McCash is the, when they combine for athletics and band, they become a new mascot, the Blue Knights. So
They
we're s-
picked that?
That's been like, in this, you know, in the last, I don't know how long, but as long as it's been combined. So we're just
Yeah.
staying with the existing colors. It's what-
All their extra.
They're gonna need some
curriculars
uniforms.
Together, and that's the name that they.
No, they won't.
So we want them
They
to
won't need no
keep
new ones? Okay.
the name,
And that's a
their
big reason why we
identity
want to keep them
at the new
the
school.
same.
Correct.
Because of a lot of the branding
They're
and
not
uniforms.
I mean, they don't have to be the Blue Knights, they could just be the Knights, but
I
Yeah.
think they should
It
be
know,
could just
the
be
little
lights, and if you
gators.
think go light
Yeah.
green,
Keep it the
that's all you
gators.
got.
So we had a lot of deliberation about that, and like Mr. Baldwin just said, the little gators, the baby gators. We wanted to.
Well,
kinda
elementary could
really
be
keep
baby
them
gators.
separate. You know, like, let them become gators when it's time to become the gators. But we talked about that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think the principal at Montague may have wanted that, like, that was kind of, but we had discussion with Juliet and Jennifer and others, and that's kind of where we kind of.
And now they're the same color as, Homer Junior High?
Sort of, yeah. But they're already the same color.
They've been using them for quite some
But-
time.
Shelley, can I make a comment? I think you did a phenomenal job of making them look similar, yet
Yes.
different. You know, and I think with that great brick that's out there is very unique. And if you can find that, that's gonna really mesh them together, and have the same vertical, like you said, vertical windows and stuff, and just different colors of, or splashes of color will be different yet similar, you know, so I like that whole concept.
I love the
You
design.
know, when you put yellow and blue together, you know what color it is.
look, I'm all about the green too. Like I'm not, I mean, you saw my first design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I also agree with the fact that, you know, every school needs its own identity. And if the Blue Knights is their identity and they want to keep that, then we really need to enhance that. If you want to revisit, still using the Knights, you know, as their logo, then I can help them with kind of modifying or enhancing their logo. And they don't have to be the Blue Knights. They can be Knights. And we can still go, and we can revert back to the green theme.
Well, the parents I spoke to that have children at Montague Middle and have had, their thing is, they went to Montague Middle or the Cash, they were part of the Blue Knights. That's something that they share with their children, but they didn't, that was parents I spoke to. They wanted to keep the Blue Knight name, because they felt like that was important to them, because they were part of that, and their children are still part of that.
They're down the volume mentality.
Can't change history.
So, one more comment. So the Blue Knights, like as a name, as a mascot, is synonymous with a number of different groups out there. And it's royalty, it's prestige, you know, so I like the idea of keeping that because that's what it is. I'm part of a motorcycle group, we call ourselves the Blue Knights, right? I ride motorcycles with guys, they're all law enforcement guys. They're the Blue Knights. And they have chapters all over the world. Blue Knights are royalty, it's, you know, something. So I like the idea of that. I mean, I think it's fitting, and the fact that they've been, I don't know, I think it's 6 or 7 years they've been combining athletics, at least that I've known of.
It's way longer.
It's been longer than that, yeah.
Mhm.
I was principal over there 13 years ago.
And they have a very good band. They're very proud of their band.
Yep.
So
So we're going to give some attention to the band room
great.
at this school.
My concern is, we cut down on some classes. So what 700 and, what were the numbers? 766.
I'm with
but
you
how
on
many?
this.
Yes, and how many classrooms? So what is the average number? What would the average number? I didn't do the math. Go ahead, Matt, get that out for us. So,
She mentioned it at a capacity of 33.
yeah, but that's ridiculous.
28
yeah.
classrooms, 33 kids, 924.
Yeah, okay.
33 is a little bit.
Okay.
That's too high.
22, yeah, the 22-23 school year enrollment, which I apologize, I don't have this year's. This was given to me last year. That enrollment was 769, but I think those numbers are pretty close.
Yeah, they've actually dropped. Right now, Monica Middle
Oh,
has
man.
a little over 400 kids, and LaCasse has under 300. To combine, they're barely 700 students right now.
But, I mean, they can continue to drop. You know, down the bayou, people are moving, all that stuff there. However, I think, and I don't know who does the numbers with this, but since the hurricane, since ST's been messed up in Ellender and LaCache and all those schools there, what I hear is a lot of people are going to the Homer Christian, to the Vanderbilt, to those private schools. I think once we have new schools,
They're coming
you
back.
know, we may have them come back.
That's right.
So I don't want to have 900 kids, and now we're sticking 30 to 33 per class. So I don't,
So we do track when they leave,
mhm.
and the students from down the bayou who are leaving are not going to private school. They are going to schools either almost.
I know some that are. I mean, I'm not saying,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I don't know if it's 10 or 50, or I don't know.
The
Yeah.
majority of them are leaving.
She don't know it. She don't know everything.
So, no, I think, Mr. Buzzer, you're right. We feel we have a pretty good cushion to absorb a lot more kids, and not maxing out at 33. You just use that as an example, like an extreme.
I think
But
that's the
another
max
250
allowed.
Kids.
Right.
We don't see that kind of growth. And we have to keep in mind, obviously, that every 750 square foot classroom is 750 times $300.
Yeah.
So the bigger we build it,
The more it's
the
gonna
24 million, now she's under a budgetary number of 24 million that we as a board, you as a board kind of approved for her to go. So she's right at 24 right now with the square footage she has. And that's at $300 a square foot.
Is that something
She's-
that could change, though? I mean, are
It-
we going to be
it
locked
could
in?
if the
Yeah.
money's available.
Right,
So I showed you tonight, obviously, we had 20,
Right.
for our 24 million, we gotta come up with 4.
yeah.
So if we gotta come up with 5 or 6 or 7, it gets more difficult to build a bigger school where we have just excessive amounts of rooms that we may never fill. And that's a dilemma, it's a
Yeah.
dilemma. And you know, we had the Mulberry, I mean, we cut down there, and we still have room. So I feel confident that
Okay.
the space she has designed is gonna accommodate easily what we have with the potential to grow a comfortable 100 or better kids.
Okay.
Easily.
So worst case scenario, if you wanted to ever do an addition, there is,
Worst case scenario.
worst case scenario, I mean, like, that's,
But we
Future,
almost have to
future.
think like that because because we're within a
Right.
budget
Budget,
amount, right?
right.
Instead of doing it now, we can look later
I mean,
if we get to
yeah.
that point. you know.
Right. And haven't we thought about moving like the Presqu'île kids there? I don't know how many, what the numbers are,
Perhaps when we're ready to cross
that bridge.
that
or-
bridge,
Okay,
literally.
yeah, exactly. Mr. DeHart?
Thank you. I'm going to follow up on some of the things you said, because I got bombarded with phone calls whenever South Terrebonne and Ellender were both destroyed, and we had to double up at the 2 other high schools. People left our system and went to the private sector because they didn't want to get home at 7 o'clock at night and stuff like that. I understood that. My passion was with them, but at the same time, if you cut the corners too close, and I know she's at the budget, if you cut it too close and then you add portables, this is one board member that says that's almost like a cancer. Portables are expensive, and then you're putting your kids out in the areas that you don't want to put them. And all of a sudden, classrooms and main buildings is substantial. And the only other concern I have is that I want to make certain that area that the children can hang out at, you know, during noon hour and stuff. I want to make sure all of that's fenced in, and I'm pretty sure that will be.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's out of line.
Yes, sir.
You know, I didn't mean to bring up that comment, but really and truly, I want to have a little extra space for population possibly coming back, because portable buildings are very expensive, and they're hard to maintain and costly to maintain. So I want to put the kids, if we're going to do what we can, I just think we need a little bit more leeway room for expansion for possible ones coming back. Because I tell you what, once they're gonna see that facility, and I know you said it earlier, Mr. Wazan, we don't say thankful for a hurricane, but many schools in our parish have benefited after hurricane to rebuild instead of remodel or add on to. And that's I guess God sent to. It's not all a disaster, is what I'm saying. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Can I make one more comment?
Yes,
I don't want to belabor this.
No,
but
go ahead.
Shelley, sorry to cut in, but
It's
we're
okay.
going to be faced with the same, whether you call it a dilemma or not, with Upper Little Caillou and Grand Caillou Elementary. How big do we build it? Do we build it according to what we've projected? We're looking at trends, and we're looking at, like Kim said, we track kids, where are they going? We know some are going to private, but a lot of them are leaving Terrebonne Parish. You know, like, that's kind of what our enrollment, when they drop with us, that's what it's saying. How big do we build Grand Caillou Elementary? How big, do we want a school with 10 extra classrooms? That's, to me, wasted money. So we're faced with that. You gotta find the sweet spot where you have enough for growth, but not 10 empty classes that may never get used. And you end up where we're at with Caldwell, where you have 19 empty classrooms, 19, that teachers are doubling up in, and it looks like they're consuming the space, which they are, but really, it's double the space that they need. So we don't want to get where we make one room we see this, guys, we see a room is a parent copy room. A whole classroom up, because we just have that much space in some schools. One room might be, you name it, a speech teacher in a classroom. Well, that's kind of overkill, we're trying to find the sweet spot. We think we're pretty good with this number. And we have a couple, and you didn't mention it, but you have a couple of spaces that are versatile rooms.
Yeah, I'll go back to the floor plan.
Go back to classrooms.
We need to.
Number 24, I think, is what Mr. Orgeron's talking about. Uh-oh. Those are what we call flexible learning spaces. So they're two larger rooms with divider panels in the middle. These could be used for intervention, gifted and talented, speech, PLC rooms, you name it, or in the future, additional classrooms. We also have two large resource rooms, which are number 20, that could probably be reduced in size and split up to accommodate an extra classroom as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through some of the renderings that we did. Basically, like we talked about, we're using brick, storefront, fiber cement board, metal panels, standing seam roofs. This is the front elevation. At the top, that's the whole elevation. I kind of zoomed in. To the left is the library, which is kind of in the middle of the breezeway. And then to the right is the main entrance lobby. This is the courtyard view, kind of looking at the two-story classroom wing.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
You did a good job.
This is,
It's gorgeous.
thank you.
It's beautiful.
This is the lobby, the main lobby. Painted concrete block, nothing too extravagant. Same materials that were used at the Bayou Community Academy school is starting construction in Thibodaux. That was about $300 a square foot. And I had conversations with the contractor on what materials and what building systems that was, going to be used there. And so we're kind of mirroring that to make sure that we're hitting our budget. Let's see, another lobby view.
350 or better a square foot.
How
If we
much?
can stay at 300, we'll be in good shape.
This is the cafeteria, looking towards the stage. This is the cafeteria looking towards the main entrance. This is this common corridor that I talked about earlier. So all the spaces to the left are common learning areas. That's your library, our flexible learning spaces we just talked about. And this corridor connects you from the main academic wing to the cafeteria and gym wing. And we really kind of wanted to highlight the library and kind of give an opportunity for students to sort of have display or information boards in this little zone. This is the library. And this is the gymnasium.
Why can't you do the library like Grand Car Middle?
So what's
They have a separate room.
seating capacity?
To do
For
it
the
for-
gym?
Helps you on square footage.
On the floor plan.
270.
I think it was 275. Is that, I think it's on the printout. I don't have a copy of the printout.
270 on the front.
So basically, like at Southdown Elementary, there's three, I think, rows of benches on both sides. We have the same amount of seating, just tucked onto one side. And then the player benches on the other. It's not a full spectator gym, you know, it's a middle school. So, you know, obviously, every little addition adds square footage. Is the opposite direction. Very high-scoring game for middle school. So,
Many
the
middle
second
schools got
sheet
gyms.
that was on your 8.5 by 11
That
is a budget, and it was sort of a more broken-down budget, kind of coordinated with some local contractors on this. And you can kind of see where our big price points are, things that we really can't avoid, right? Like foundation, piling, plumbing, electrical, things of that sort. But we also put a 10% contingency factor in there. So that's fluff. So we're under 24 million with that 10% contingency factor. As of right now. So hopefully, you know, we can open for the 2026 school year, but this is all pending the board approval and FEMA, of course.
Get to work out.
That's the goal, but, you know, like I said, you always shoot for a goal, but in South Louisiana with hurricanes and storms, and it's a fighting battle.
I'm sorry, repeat that again. When did you say?
No.
Did a great job.
Maybe I shouldn't go on record with that.
Shelley did a great
Because
job.
you know I'm going to hold you
Thanks.
to it.
Thank you.
Good job, Shelley.
You
Thank
did it
you.
well. Good job. Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
Yeah, just one quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, it's been fun working with Shelley so far, but Sandra and Becky and Kim and other member staff have contributed a lot of the numbers and the different aspects, and the two principals as well, Juliet and Jennifer. So thank you all for that as well, being part of this.
I thank you for the opportunity. It's an exciting moment for the parish, if I can get this closed for y'all.
If I may just say one more thing. Mr. Superintendent, I appreciate the fact that you get the input from the people who are actually at the schools and in the trenches.
Okay, yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
You got it.
Okay, back to the agenda. It looks like we only have 2 hours left.
Did we finish the vote on it?
No, no, you did fantastic. I'm just being stupid, okay?
Did we finish the vote on this?
We didn't have to vote on that. That was just information. All right. Number 10. Mr. Poisson's up there. The committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Orchestrate LLC for plans and specifications for the construction of the new South Terrebonne Middle School in response to Hurricane Ida. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds and local funds. Authorize the advertising of bids upon approval of final construction plans. Direct that any major project changes be reported to the BFT committee prior to advertising for bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto pending FEMA approval.
So moved.
So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Dr. Traha?
I'm just excited that we are what we are. It's really exciting. Love it.
Yep. Mr. Lagarde? Mr. Poisson, anything? Anybody? Any other board members? We good?
I'm gonna save mine for the board meeting.
Okay. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Amen. Number 11, committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Grow Flores Positary LLC for plans and specifications for the construction of Upper Little Caillou Elementary School in response to Hurricane Ida. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds. Authorize advertising of bids upon approval of final construction plans. Direct that any major project changes be reported to the BFT committee prior to advertising for bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde? Any
I'll
other
keep
board
my
members?
comments
So,
for the
Raider,
end
no,
when contractors come up.
I just want to say one
Yes,
quick
sir.
thing on this
Go
one.
ahead.
So, Upload Caillou is Andy. Andy is here tonight. He's going to be designing that. I just want to make this comment. Andy and Merlin are working hand in hand, so that Upload Caillou and Grand Caillou Elementary are going to be very similar in design and materials. So
That's good.
that's happening right now. And we want to get this one as well as the others just ready so that, as the last statement said, last part of the last sentence, pending FEMA approval. So as soon as we get approval,
We can get started.
we can roll.
We can hit it.
Okay?
So are we going to have some really nice pictures like Miss Shelley had? Yes, sir. Okay, fantastic. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 12, the committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to the Merlin Group LTD for plans and specifications for the construction of Grand Caillou Elementary School in response to Hurricane Ida. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds. Authorize the advertising of bids upon approval of final construction plans. Direct that any major project changes be reported to the BFT committee prior to advertising for bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto, pending FEMA approval. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde? Any other board members? Yes, Mr. Ford?
I assume they're gonna make it look just like the Grand Caillou Middle as well, for Grand Caillou Elementary and Upper Little Caillou. I see that Merlin's doing this one, so he's gonna make it look
Well, the two
I
little,
don't think it's going to be quite like
similar,
that.
but the same material.
Perhaps, yes.
so when you said earlier, the two elementary schools are
The
going
two
to be
elem-
very close to
Yes.
similar, yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I was asking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 13, committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Craig Aber AIA, a professional architect corporation, for plans and specifications for the demolition of Ellender Memorial High School in response to Hurricane Ida. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds. Authorize the advertising of bids. Direct that any major project changes be reported to the BFT committee prior to advertising for bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto, pending FEMA approval. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Dr. Traha?
I'm just glad that we have something for Ellen. I've been getting a lot of
About
calls. I had several today, and I was so glad that I was able to give them the news that we were gonna be on the agenda this evening.
Awesome,
It
yes.
made a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
Can I add again?
Yes,
I hate
sir,
to be
please.
just to say this, but we want to get all of our, I guess, plans in place, because we're still waiting for FEMA's approval.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to kind of point that out. It doesn't mean we're going to start demolishing
Right, right,
Ellender.
right.
We're still waiting on final approval, but
Right.
we're getting the pieces
Ready
in
when it
place
gets here.
so that it's ready to go.
Yeah,
Adam can
fantastic.
probably attest, we're confident that it's going to be approved to demolish. We're waiting particularly on the rebuild approval.
Okay.
So it's a little premature to demolish without having approval on
Right, right,
rebuild,
right.
right?
Takes
So
time to
that's kind of why we're a little
Right,
on
right.
guard.
Okay. Mr.
It
Lagarde,
takes
you
time to
had anything?
demolish.
Yes.
Ms. Benoit?
Yeah, just a procedural question. All these notices to proceed, why can't we have
Put it all as
one?
one and just say, yeah.
Because why?
No, I don't know. As I'm reading it, yes, I'm
Yeah.
thinking the same
I mean,
thing. I don't know.
I thought we had talked about that already, that we would put them all together as a consent agenda.
And just maybe have them listed.
And then everybody can pull, I mean, if they see one that they have a question about, we can say,
Yeah.
I don't want that one, but we can
Is
do
that
the other.
something we
one.
can do?
It just would save a lot of time.
Okay. I think.
Oh, different
yeah, I think
contractors,
well, I mean,
maybe.
that makes sense.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Ford?
Along the same lines, would it be possible for us to, when we have these committee meetings, if we have an agenda item such as move on to demolition, have a special board meeting the same evening to get that, so we don't have to wait for
Perhaps,
2 weeks?
even a couple of weeks or even a month or so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
perhaps. It'll be up to you, Doc.
that's one of the things that I would suggest. Thank you.
Okay.
Good idea. Thanks. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 14, the committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to Craig Abear, a professional architect corp. For plans and specification for the construction of Ellender Memorial High School in response to Hurricane Ida. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds. Authorize the advertising of bids upon approval of final construction plans. Direct that any major project changes be reported to the BFT committee prior to advertising for bids, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto pending FEMA approval. So moved, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Dr. Traha. Mr. Lagarde.
One quick comment.
Yes, please, Mr. Ogeron.
So I just want to just acknowledge that Craig Abear has been working diligently on his demolition plan package, as well as preliminary plans for the new school. Darrell Dillard has assembled the principals from the high school level, as well as central office staff, to kind of start giving input on what we are anticipating Ellender to look like. And Craig's kind of relegated. One of the things Craig can probably, again, confirm, he's relegated to the flood map of Ellender. So we've got to kind of stay in the footprint. We can't build a house, so he's looking at a two-story kind of situation for Ellender. Anything you want to add on Ellender that the board would want to know right now? But thanks, Mr. Dillard and staff, for also contributing to this plan. This is an extensive one. This is a lot.
Yes, like I mentioned to everyone when we met, this is the first time that Terrebonne Parish builds a new high school in 50 years. And so there's a lot. There's not only just the new construction, but it's also what does education look like moving forward in the future. So we're trying to capture as many of those ideas as we can, but the new FEMA flood maps do constrict our buildable footprint because the current maps, as they've been adopted, do encroach on the existing campus quite a bit compared to what they used to. In fact, they even touch a version of the existing auditorium and classroom wing on the south side of the building. So because of that, we're looking at a number of things. One, possibly doing two-story elements, possibly even a third story in portions of the building just to be able to accommodate for space. One of the other things that we're possibly looking at too is in the event of high weather events again in the future, South Lafourche has a great model where a portion of their campus can be brought online much quicker in the event that they have issues with weather or, you know, some event has damaged a portion of the campus. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, then they can go into an A/B learning model so that maybe temporary campuses are not being implemented in the future. So there's a lot. We've begun the basic conceptual conversations of what the program looks like. The principal of Ellender has offered to us her ideas and suggestions and what she would like to see as the school is developing. So we still have a long way to go, but we have hit the ground and we are running.
Very good. Any committee members? Any other board members? Yes, Mr. Ford?
This is going to be taken as being a pessimist, but although I appreciate the principals and the administration and their ideas, these schools are for the community. Those principals could be gone by the time that school's built. So I appreciate their input, but I would certainly like to get some input from alumni, from the community, from the people who have kids that are going to end up going there. So although I do appreciate our administrators, they could be gone, you know, tomorrow, and their opinion means nothing to me in that matter, you know. So I like the idea of getting their feedback, but certainly solicited from other people in the community as well.
Some of what we're looking at, Mr. Ford, and this is what we discussed at our last meeting, is that we know if we're approved to move forward, we have 178,000 square feet to deal with. Are there spaces now in their educational program or in the building that are not being utilized to capacity? Can we take square footages from those areas and possibly manipulate or add to, say, band or theater or development of a science program? Those kinds of conversations are what happen right now, or what's happening.
So more logistical, less.
Correct, because we're so early in this process It's not, it doesn't appear that it's gonna be just a simple regurgitation of the spaces you have and the square footage you have. I mean, there's over 1,400 rooms in this building. So, there's a lot of maneuvering, and right now what we're trying to do is massage what we need and where we can maybe allocate a new space to for a developing program, or the changes in education.
And another example, just real quick, is the functionality of the front office. So, I mean, we have Blaze and Darrell and now Marquita who are all there, and so it doesn't work. How can we redesign it to function better? Those kind of things. Not so much design, but we get your point. Good point.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
The committee recommends that the board approve the substantial completion dated February 8, 2024 for the building repair project at Andrew Price, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Do we have anybody from there?
Rick is here, but he's
He's good? Any questions for Mr. Rick? Okay. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Number 16, committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 2 for the building repair project in response to Hurricane Ida at Houma Junior High in the amount of $3,929.04 for additional cost of material for 1.6 baseboards in lieu of 1.4 baseboards. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds, $3,536.14, and local funds, $392.90. Nice, cute little figure. And further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Dr. Tron. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Yes, sir, please.
Mr. Chairman, just one minor correction there. There should be like a 6-inch baseboard and a 4-inch baseboard.
Okay, so that's what, it's 1 6-inch, okay, I wasn't quite sure how to read
Take
that.
the ones out, yeah.
Okay, so 6-inch baseboard in lieu of 4-inch. Okay, very good. Thank you for the clarification. Any, Dr. Trahan, Mr. Lagarde, any other board members?
I know, that's what I was thinking, man. That's cheap.
You were paying attention.
Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 17, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the following change orders for Hurricane Ida recovery projects and authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto, and that's for Evergreen Junior High and Caldwell Middle and Gibson Elementary. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Mr. White. Okay. Mr. Grant. Any public comments, or Mr. Grant? Dr. Tron, you have anything for him or Mr. Lagarde or any other board members? Or anything you want to add? No? Any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. Number 18, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 2 for the Legion Park Elementary School HVAC and window replacement project in the amount of $3,713.82 to install additional fencing around the new cafeteria and kitchen AC units. Funds to be derived from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, ESSER 3, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Dr. Traha? No. Mr. Lagarde? Any other board members? Any objections?
It's coming out real nice to Legion Park if you haven't had a chance.
I have not, no. Good. Thank you, Ms. Shelley. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 19, the committee recommends that the board approve and accept the following change orders for Hurricane Ida recovery projects and authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto, and this is for H.L. Bourgeois and Mulberry Elementary. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Mr. Positeri is here. Dr. Traha? Mr. Lagarde? Any other board members? Mr. Positeri, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I can answer any questions if there are.
Any questions? No? All right, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 20, the committee recommends that the board declare as surplus the building and property located at 1327 Bayou Dularge Road, Terrio, Louisiana, 70397, Old Dularge Elementary School. Authorize the superintendent to have the property appraised and authorize the sale of said property in accordance with applicable laws, all transactions subject to board attorney review, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Traha, second Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Mr. Ogeron, would you have anything to say on this?
It's a property we had a school on that we no longer use. It was family property. Through declaratory judgment, we inherited the property, so we're asking to get it appraised.
Praise and sold.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Yes, Ms. Benoit?
Just a question. After it's appraised, if we don't sell it after a certain length of time, I'm thinking maybe like the Demo Diva or one of the demolition companies would want the wood. I mean, we're talking about cypress, good wood in that building. We could.
But we definitely could do part of the school, especially the two-story, and we could maybe lease another portion of the school for whoever may want to
Yeah.
lease it. You know, there's like there's 4 buildings on that property. One's dilapidated, Mr. DeHart knows them very well. The other part, which is the one you're talking about,
Yeah,
would be
the old
great to
one.
recycle the lumber, and the other 2 could be leased,
Yeah, that'll be-
perhaps.
hopefully,
Yep.
we'll get a chance to do that.
Yes,
And-
yep.
And there's a misspelling, they forgot an L in
Yeah, I saw
all
that,
on
yeah.
the last line.
Good
yeah.
catch.
I saw it. Good job. Mr. DeHart?
I'd just like to add, if there is no opportunity to sell it, there might be an option for a lease like we do in the old Grand Caillou School. And also, just to share, it's not about just the school, about, tearing it down and selling the lumber. All I'm saying to you is that we maintaining grass, we got electric bill that we paying over there and not getting anything out of it. And there was opportunity at least 8-10 years ago where I was contacted and asked. At that time, we didn't, that's when we let Southdown use it. And while the new school was being built, and somebody was interested in possibly leasing it for a bread and breakfast. And I'm just saying, there's many options out there, but until we do this, which legally, that's the first step we have to do, then we can see whatever comes up and make decisions down the road.
Mr. Ford?
We could always lease it to the the cemetery that's next door. Here people are dying to get in there.
Okay.
I want to see the building stay standing because I
Me
really
too.
like that school.
Me
My
too.
kids went there when they were little.
I went there.
Yeah.
My
Oh, wow.
husband went there.
I went there and then my kids went there, all 4 of my kids.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. That was number 20. All right, so Mr. Curtis Lee,
My mom and dad's buried right next to me.
matter bearing upon update of Hurricane Ida response.
Good evening to you, board members.
Good evening.
In your packet that you have, or in your sheet that you have from us tonight, we're reporting on the 2 high schools that we're now managing. And I wanted to note that although it's 2 facilities, it's actually 3 contracts that are currently underway. And just want to put that designation there. So at HLB High School, we're reporting that one to be 80%. It's my understanding that the other night, they actually had a baseball game. And the baseball stadium repairs to the dugout and the press box and all that is almost complete. The stairs arrived this week and they're going to be installed or start that installation tomorrow or Thursday. And they have a window unit AC system to put in, and those things are progressing well.
What's important is did they win HLB? I know y'all were thinking that,
I
right?
wish I had the answer to that. Yeah.
Don't know. Yeah, yeah, I heard that one. I'm sorry, Mr. Lee.
Yes,
Go
sir,
ahead.
no worries. Within the school itself, if we drop down just a little bit there, we're talking about the main building, and I gave you guys some details there, but on the roof construction of the main building is at 80%, and for the roof construction for the boys and girls gym, which is under current construction updates, they're at 100% complete. Interior floors are 100% complete. And I'm calling us 60% on lighting because we just have 2 corridors left to install there for our interior lighting. And we already spoke about the baseball facilities. With our other 2 contracts, they're both at South Terrebonne High School. And for the spectator gym, it's 85% complete with the repairs to the gymnasium really resulting in just the remaining work associated with the gym floor. So I think we spoke to you guys last month and we talked that there were some lower bleachers that had to be removed in order to install that wood gymnasium flooring system. And it is there and in place, and it is in process of acclimation now for the past couple of days. It has a little bit of time left before it'll be nailed down, sanded. They'll put their base coats of the ceiling and striping with the logos and all the linings that need to go down for the basketball regulations. And to then put in the remainder of the bleachers and complete the installation of that gym. So if we look at the areas that we are talking about in bullet 3, and I know I'm kind of jumping around for sequence of each facility, the next to complete is the South Terrebonne Gymnasium, which is scheduled right now for the end of March. And for the main facility itself, which is the separate contract but the same contractor, demolition has started. Submittals have been submitted to the architect for approval of those materials within the design, and roofing materials have been delivered to that facility with discussions on starting the roofing, most likely on the gymnasium as well. So we are reporting that to be just under 5% for that facility on the main building. Any questions?
Yeah, someone said that there was they started some work at South Terrebonne, and there was some asbestos that they didn't anticipate. Is that a rumor, or who's the? That would be
Yeah,
Merlin.
Mr. Merlin could not be here tonight.
Okay, so we
I
don't
have
know.
not, let me speak to my cohort. Gary, have you heard anything to that nature?
There was some additional investigation done after one of the subs had exposed an area that was previously unable to get to until the contractor design. It's being tested right now. We're waiting for the results. But according to Ritter Lunch, they do not feel that it is asbestos at this time.
Okay. All right.
But it is under investigation. We are waiting the results. Once we get that, we can present that to you.
Do we know about how long that's going to be?
They should
Just
have it by today.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
They just tested it, so we should have the results by today.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DeHart?
Mr. Armstrong, just to refresh my memory, because it's been kind of thin. Right now, these 3 projects, dollars under construction, is slightly under 33 million. Is that out of general fund or billing account, or is that some of FEMA money too?
All FEMA.
It's all FEMA?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
90% of it.
No, I'm
Yes, sir.
just trying to wrap my head around it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lee.
Okay.
Thank you.
And y'all met Gary just now, but Gary's gonna be on site a whole lot probably at South Terrebonne, so that's Curtis's counterpart, like I said, Gary. Sorry for not knowing your last name, Gary, but.
Gary Beard. Yes.
All right, Gary Beard, all right.
Thank you,
Oh,
guys.
that's good. Thank you, Mr. Lee, appreciate it. Beard. Informational matter bearing upon update Hurricane Ida and ESSER construction projects. Various architects, we have,
Mr. Utley, anything would you like to add about some of your?
Very briefly,
Mr. Anderson question.
everything's going okay in Oak Lawn.
Positive.
Everything's going good at Oak Lawn at this time. They look like they will be out of the facility earlier than the contract substantial completion date by a bit. So they have plans to work on other buildings in Terrebonne Parish, and so they're working very diligently to be able to get out of there and have it completed.
Are they moving the little units in front to the side yet? Is that-
Yeah, they've got the new units on the side already. They are now working on that building. That's the last classroom, it's the admin classroom building right there in the very front. That's the last building they're on. They do still have some stuff to do in the, sprinkled around, some pickup stuff, but they're really substantially complete on a lot of the buildings that are in there. But they've still got a bit to do in the gym. They've done the lobby, worked really well with Shelley's group on that, with her working on the exterior. That went very smooth. So, you know, things have been moving along quite well there. Got a lot done during the break. They took advantage of that and got into some areas to be able to get some stuff done while the kids weren't there. And on Elysian Fields, the same thing was done there. The contractor got in and did a lot of installation of equipment into the ceilings. They still haven't run the piping to it because that's going to entail bringing down the ceiling at that point, and it would make the building open to the environment, because that's all that's in that building is the ceiling and then an insulation layer above it. So they have to wait until the summer to be able to actually run the piping and everything. But they took advantage of the break and got all that equipment
Will
installed.
that one be finished by the end of summer?
I think they should be
Close?
they should be able to meet their substantial, and they're telling me they will meet their substantial completion date for the project on Elysian Fields. They're saying they will.
Okay.
If they got the people in there to do it, they can do it.
Okay. It's extremely hot first week of August and all that, right? And
Right.
we struggle at Elysian
All right, well,
with what we have now.
come August, they should have all new air conditioning in there. So when school starts, they should have it all, before school starts.
Good.
They should have it all completed. Any questions on either one of those two projects? Okay, thank you all.
Good news, good news.
Mr. Positeri, can you come to the front, please? Did you have anybody else that?
Daniel's here, but if there's anything for Daniel.
Okay. You'll-
Good
you'll
evening.
come up. Good evening. Yeah, Dr. Trahad had.
Thank you for being here, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been watching the work going on at Upload Ohio. We've had people there since the first week of January, working, craftsmen working on the inside, filling up dumpsters and things. I'm just wondering if we have a date yet for the actual demolition.
Yep, they are actually completing the asbestos abatement in there right now. And so I do expect that to wrap up fairly quickly. We actually have a call, I actually have a call with them tomorrow, and I'm waiting for the clearance documents. So before they can do any, what I will call visual demolition, we want to make sure that the abatement is completed. We want to make sure that we have the proper clearances in place. And so at that
So that
point, then the
should be
schools.
coming up.
Yep. I also, on that project, did communicate to them that we want to retain the plaque that's inside, as well as that monument sign that's at the highway.
Yes.
So they're aware of that as well.
Yeah, I had a few people get really upset when they saw that it had gotten what that they call graffiti on the marble and brick nameplate, and it's in the front of Upload Ohio. They said we could have everything going, we just had that left, and they came and painted with the address with blue spray paint.
So there's two signs on
I
that
called
site.
Andy, and he took it off of the demolition list, and they're gonna salvage it.
Yeah, there's two signs on that site. One of them is, as you approach from the north, it's kind of a lit sign. That one, the contractor actually spray painted the address real large so that delivery truck drivers could see. The other, what I'll call the more
But
historic
the one they
monument
worried
site.
about is that brick and marble
Yep.
one.
The brick's got some spray paint on it. I'm not too concerned about that, but the marble section itself is fine. So we'll salvage the marble section, probably reinstall it or reincorporate it into the new design. But that other sign that's the backlit sign, well, I'm not too concerned about that one.
And let's not forget, we still have those glass panes at Fletcher that came off the top of the windows of each classroom that we
At
had
Fletcher?
salvaged.
They're housed, they're stored.
They- At Fletcher, correct. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
That's supposed to be put into the
We'll incorporate that into the.
plans when we get around to it, just a little piece of
Yes,
memorabilia.
ma'am. Not a problem.
Do you have Dr. Trahan's phone number?
I sure do.
Okay, make sure you
She's got
call her
mine.
before
She's
that
definitely
place
got
gets
mine.
demolished. She'll be mad at you.
Yep.
All right.
I'm gonna be on the buyer side with
I
my
know you
with my mug of latte, watching it.
I know she knows where to find me.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? You have anything to? We're good?
Thanks, David. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have a question for him? No?
Just real quick, so SEC, we took bids on SEC, we're under review for SEC bids today. We'll be coming to the board with that bid recommendation at the next board meeting. Lewis Miller Votech, we have a pre-bid conference tomorrow with bids scheduled to be received on March the 6th. So
Awesome.
we're rocking and rolling.
Keep it going.
All right.
All right.
Any question? Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So,
Oh, what? Oh, shoot.
I got questions for Sammy.
Mr. Sammy Poisson.
Please.
Tried to get you off early, but Mr. Ford called you up.
didn't
Oh,
sneak out fast enough.
I tried.
Hurry up.
Come on, Mr. Sammy.
Lordy.
Almost got out of here, huh?
Yeah, I forgot about Mr. Sammy.
We're almost at the third hour.
Well, I can present it to y'all like I did before. Y'all want the fast version?
Short and
Oh,
sweet.
you're just
Yeah,
Short and sweet.
fast version.
fast? All right.
Everything's good.
I mean, the project updates, y'all need to read them. I'm not gonna go through them because it's very encouraging of how far things have come. Just so much work is being done now, and we can see it happening. I mean, if y'all want, I can read through them.
No, it's okay.
We can read.
Good.
You're gonna need somebody to follow.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, Mr. Ford has, of course, he has something to ask you.
So I'm actually pleased that you have colorful, like actual in-depth reports.
Somebody did that for him.
Somebody's stepping their game up. Oh,
She did some. Ally did some.
I do have a question with regards to H.L. Bourgeois. While they were doing the fields and they're still working on that, I had asked Bubba and we talked about possibly having maintenance build some restrooms adjacent to the softball and baseball fields so they don't have to keep renting porta potties. There's a big chunk of their budget, baseball and softball, every year that goes to porta potty rentals. Is that something that we can make happen over there
a big enough
with
stack.
materials that we have or can acquire
I have a big enough stack.
through
We can,
maintenance?
we can get prices to do it. I mean, as far as us in-house, I don't know we could do it. We'd probably have to contract that out and see. I mean, it's something we can look into.
If we supply the materials, I think they have people in the boosters and, you know, parents and other people that would help put it together to do it. I mean, I could design it if we needed to, just can we make it happen is what I'm asking.
So you got this for next Tuesday?
Here's the slight new is
Shouldn't be as much discussion.
it's like gonna be
Yeah. Ellender needs it.
everybody's in the same boat.
It-
Bodies are having to walk all the way to the main building to use the restroom. So that's my only concern. I'd love to do it. I think we need.
And we're going through that right now with Ellender. I mean, we just had that.
So I wasn't aware if other schools needed it, it was just brought to my attention.
That's a little bit of a problem. You can maybe phase it in when you want a year or something like that.
Since these are personalized, I guess we get to take.
When we leave. Any other question for Mr. Sammy?
That's it?
Is it motion to adjourn? Motion by Dr. Trahan, second by Mr. Lagarde. The meeting is adjourned. Y'all have a great